Well, there are.
Hang on, let's just extrapolate this and just end this thing, right? So what I'm getting at is, I never sort of defend Scientology from the view of, we're perfect, we never do anything wrong, we're whatever. You know, I know all sorts of things. I could probably give you a lecture on how bad Scientology is just from my own experiences in 30 years. You know what I mean? Good and bad in everything. I was in the Boy Scouts when I was a kid. I can tell you some terrible things about the Boy Scouts. You know what I mean? So, if that means, you know, the absolute worst possible thing it means that, you know, for some reason, God knows why, L. Ron Hubbard said, don't shoot those people. I wouldn't agree with that. I wouldn't agree with it now. Certainly wouldn't do it. If you told me to go and do it, I wouldn't do it. And I don't know anybody that would in my entire knowledge of, you know, all the people I know
I'm not saying that anyone would.
Right.
This is mostly something based on...
No, I'm sort of agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with you. If he said that that's something that he seriously wanted people to do, it's wrong.
But if it's not something they're seriously saying for people to do, and you're saying that you really don't know. You really don't know.
There could be lots of reasons.
I've heard other people say, other people who are Scientologists say that, look at it and say as if they know with absolute certainty that if he wrote it into the SP Declares, that's a joke. Now, do you personally think he would write a joke into the SP Declares?
100% don't think he would.
Okay.
It's one thing to make a joke like, the reason I say originally I think he was joking is because it sounds like you've listened to some of his tapes, right?
Yeah.
Because, you know, he jokes all the time. He says things that he jokes, you know, he makes examples of things that are funny. That's just kind of the way he is. So I think maybe originally when he was talking, like, you know, you get to R2-42 and you're talking about exteriorization, or R2-43 and then R2-44, and you go R2-45, it's kind of like, oh, I know a good way to exteriorize people. Get a 45. You know.
Yeah.
So even if he originally meant it as a joke, I don't think he would then write it into a ethics order as a joke, because people don't joke about ethics orders.
Okay.
I think, and this is just my interpretation, right?
Okay.
This is just my guess, let's say. I think what he would mean by that, if he's meaning use R2-45, which we joke about to kill people,
yeah.
I think what he's saying is these guys are so not welcome in our group, you know, basically do what you want.
So you think he's exaggerating?
You think he's
saying like, it is so bad that maybe we should do this to them, but you don't think he's actually telling people?
Let me tell you what I think it means, and then from this I think you can probably figure it out, right? First of all, the fair game, he's talking about fair game,
yeah,
right? And the fair game concept is one of those many things that gets misunderstood, like, you know, disconnection, blah, 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 blah. The fair game concept was supposed to mean, like, let's say Catherine is a Scientologist. My God, look at her. If she is a Scientologist, and you do something like you know, borrow $10 off her and don't give it back, right? What do you do to get your $10 back? You can go to the police and say, she gave me $10, you know, I gave her $10, she won't give it back, and then I think probably you'll get nowhere with that. Even if you say she stole it out of my wallet, the chances of them tracking down for $10 is pretty slim. On the other hand, you could go to an attorney and pay, you know, $200 an hour to have some legal case to get your $10 back. It's not going to happen. Or you're going to spend more than $10 to get it back, you know what I mean? If you're a Scientologist, you can go to the chaplain and say, you know, I can show you I gave you $10 and she signed a receipt for it, and she won't give it back. The chaplain will call her in and say, look, here's the way to happiness. What's the problem? Do you not have any money or something? Can you pay him back next week? And it'll be discussed and sorted out, right? If you are excluded from the church, if you are kicked out, you're suppressive. What that means is, no matter what happens to you, right or wrong, if you borrow $10 or don't borrow $10 or steal $10, it doesn't mean it's a right or wrong thing, but it means she no longer has any recourse to the ethics codes of the church. She can't come to the chaplain, she can't come to the ethics officer. She can, you, if you want to, can go and slap her in the face. You can commit an illegal act, you could shoot her. But there's no recourse here. You have to, you know, go to the police. It's kind of like if you don't want to be a Scientologist.
Could you repeat that? Yeah. But the part about you could go
shoot her.
You could go slap her. So what do you say?
No,
who could?
Let's say if you're another Scientologist, right? if you go and do something to attack her, slap her, shoot her,
Yeah.
whatever, we're not saying that's the right thing to do, or that we are giving you permission to do that.
Okay.
But what the fair game policy means is, if you do that or anybody does that to her, what recourse does she have? What can she do about that?
I can't complain to church.
Can't complain to the church. You can complain to the police. You can complain to a lawyer. But it's kind of like you have to decide, are you a Scientologist or aren't you? If you're a Scientologist, well, then you can use our ethics principles, our ethics codes, and you can go to a chaplain's court.
Okay, I think I get what you're saying.
Yeah, if you're an SP,
get what you're saying.
you've decided you don't want to be a Scientologist, okay, fine.
Okay.
So
it's-
go to the police.
It's not saying that it's not saying go do this to suppressive persons. It's saying if you're a suppressive person, this happens to you, the church
Don't
isn't
complain
going to
to us.
help you.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
Which
anybody can
means-
go to a Roman Catholic priest or something.
Could do.
I could.
Yeah. It's again, whether you think it's a good or bad or right or wrong policy, all it means is, like, let's say something like that really happened, right? And you did something like you shot her and luckily you missed and hit her in the leg and broke her leg or something, right? No matter how bad I think Catherine is, I wouldn't think, oh, good, you shot her in the leg. But,
I appreciate that.
But I would say to Catherine, well, I'm sorry, go report it to the police. But don't ask me to help you. That's what fair game means.
That seems to take a very not helpful approach towards other stuff.
Or not what?
I mean, if a Scientologist got shot in front of me, I'd certainly help them.
I would too. I mean, it's the same with me. See, this is where
Would you, if you saw a Scientologist shoot her though, would you call the cops on that person?
Yeah.
Okay. That's
I would try to stop them.
okay.
So anyway, my point with that is, I think this I'm telling you my interpretation, and I have no basis for this other than I'm just thinking this way because I've never really been asked the question before. But if that document is real, and if L1 ever said go and apply R2-45, what I think he means is, they're gone. Do whatever the fuck you want. No, he's not saying to someone go out and shoot them. The reason for that
He's
is,
saying it could happen to them, and we're not going to do it.
yeah, it doesn't mean anyway. I mean,
That's sort of a specific way to point that out, though, is to use R2-45 as a specific example of that instead of just saying.
Let me tell you this, because here's the thing, right? And I don't mean this in any condescending way. You strike me as being, and so does Catherine actually, although we sort of argue a little bit. You strike me as being an intelligent sort of guy, right? So, one of the things that I found sometimes with anonymous people when I talk to them is, life on the internet and life here in the street is sort of different, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the internet, you can do all sorts of speculations and it goes all over the place. But in the real, absolute real world, if L1 Hubbard said to, a bunch of serial members, that guy's a suppressive, go and shoot him, with R2-45, for that reference, right? Well, no matter how cleverly they do it, if they do it in the middle of the night or whatever, a lot of murders it's pretty hard to get away with murder. You know what I mean? Sooner or later somebody finds out about it. And you know why? Because, like any group, as I'm sure you know, there are people who are Scientologists, and then next thing you know, they're not Scientologists. And there have been people leave the Church of Scientology from very high levels, like Larry Brennan used to be a fairly senior executive.
I'm very good.
Yeah. So, just again, if you look at it from the view of real life and not sort of like a bunch of internet speculation, I don't think L1 Hubbard is so stupid that he would say, go and shoot those people. Well, maybe he was, but,